Welcome to episode 3 of the Willpower Podcast. My guest today is Dalton Daniel. Dalton is a podcaster and a new breathwork facilitator here in Austin. You can find out more about Dalton on Instagram at don'tthink.breathe with one T in don't think, or his podcast, Don't Think, Breathe. Enjoy. And I just got back to doing Wim Hof every day, breathing.
Yeah.
It's feeling good. I have a weird resistance to doing it. I feel like before I do it, I feel like it's going to be so much work. I don't know if you've ever had that with it.
It does feel like work at the moment. Yeah, definitely.
But then once I kind of I watched the bubble video.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And once I get into it and kind of out of thinking about it, I just get into the breathing and the bubble is mesmerizing. Then I don't care anymore. Then I'm just in it.
You feel like once you get halfway into a round or towards the end?
I think so, yeah.
It's the beginning, just I don't know why. It's
the beginning, the first 10 breaths, I'm
yeah.
I do this thing. But then, once I...
Yeah, but I do that. I've been doing that. I feel like I do that almost every morning just because I'm anxious in the morning. I'm
Yeah.
I don't know what it is. I'm just worried about the day, and I'm I feel just unease, and it seems like doing breath work is just a way to kind of give me feeling good and baseline.
Yeah, dude. When I'm drinking caffeine, I had 2 months off of caffeine, and when I'm drinking caffeine, I feel like shit in the morning. The first hour is a struggle to get through.
Until you get the coffee.
Then I get the hit, and then I'm okay, I'm good. But the breath work helps. I think meditation helps too. It is harder without the caffeine because I'm so just antsy, similar to kind of what you were saying. But yeah, I probably should get off of it soon.
Do you feel like it helps you get stuff done and
for sure
productive? Yeah.
But the thing I don't know is if I'm not doing it at all, because I think it has a cost in terms of if I drink coffee today, I'll get more done today, but tomorrow I might pay a cost for. And I also pay the dependency cost because now if I have coffee today, I kind of need it tomorrow to work the same amount. Now if I go tomorrow without it, I'm going to work less. So there's always an immediate payoff, but then a long term.
Do you feel like it makes it difficult for you to sleep at all?
If I have it too late, it does.
Yeah.
I've been playing with... So I've been trying to drink more water lately, a full gallon every day. And I think that helps. I think maybe this is just bullshit.
Sleeping or?
No, I feel like it helps cycling out the caffeine.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
But that's my bro science.
Probably does though. I mean, you're peeing more.
There's more water
system.
Going in the blood. And
yeah.
I feel like it does something.
Yeah.
But doing that, it probably doesn't help with my sleep. I mean, it definitely doesn't, but yeah.
I've considered drinking coffee. I haven't drank coffee in a long time because I'm for me, it makes me it's so much. I can drink 1 sip or 2 sips and I'm just feel almost a little bit wired. And in the past, I was drinking bangs every day.
Oh yeah.
1 or 2 NOS energy drinks.
Buddy,
and they would just make me dialed in. But then I was just a wreck, tired after. That's obviously not healthy, but I feel like I could definitely maybe re-implement caffeine slowly.
Yeah, I think I should. I think coffee is something to move away from. I don't know why, but it doesn't. even like the energy drinks make me feel better than
Really?
coffee. Gives me a kind of weird. Yeah, I don't know what it is.
Try like tea or something.
Yeah, tea's been good. I've been doing tea if I have caffeine at afternoon, then I'll have a tea because those are way less.
Yeah.
And they don't give me that jittery feeling.
Mm-hmm.
All right. How did starting a podcast change your life?
How did it change my life? I feel like, almost like don't want this to be the answer, but it is the answer. I feel like I really suck at communicating with like the people around me.
Mm-hmm.
I almost want to reframe how I just said that. Like I struggle to open up with the people around me and talk about my ideas and interests with people.
Mm-hmm.
And sitting down and just talking to myself has always been a good way for me to like extract my thoughts. And it's more difficult when I'm around people for me to talk about what I believe.
Mm-hmm.
And so like, because I guess there's just like judgment there, and I'm not good at like just being who I am. So I think what podcasting did for me was like, it was a way for me to talk about my interests and my ideas and like define who I was, define who I am. And I honestly, I think it's had a huge impact on just like the people around me knowing what I care about and like who I am.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I was thinking that with my other podcast, The Art of Approach, where I was like, I'm having such a hard time even telling my family about this. Mm-hmm. Why don't I just record it and then just like send it in a group text and just be like, I just made this. Yeah. Go listen if you want to know me.
It's almost like a lazy way.
Yeah.
That's what I do though. I mean, like it's a lazy way to like tell people what I believe.
Yeah.
But yeah, I could probably do that in a better way. But
I always get so nervous then when I'm around them.
When they see.
Because then I feel like there's a split. Yeah. I feel like I have to live up to that person now when I'm not used to being that person with them.
Yeah. Yeah. Because they'll ask you about it. And then like you have to show up and talk about it. And it's like, yeah.
Yeah. And a lot of the times I'm similar. Like I just want to fit in. I don't want to be like standing out and talking about my interests. I'll just be whoever. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. I want to use this podcast kind of similarly to like be able to connect with the guests first of all better. I met one of my girlfriend's guy friends a few days ago. We went mini golfing, and like the three of us, and I felt I was kind of tired, and so then I just felt really like shut in and just like we even talked about stuff I do, and I was just not interested in it. So I want to figure out how to like just be that person all the time. And I think having people here and just like having like a few hours to just talk is going to help me with that, especially if they're a stranger.
Just help you open up to strangers about like what you really want to talk about.
Yeah, get right into it.
Yeah.
And then hopefully with people I know too.
Yeah,
that would be good. Yeah, so you started it like how long ago?
It was in January last year.
Okay, so a year and a half.
Yeah, and I haven't been super consistent, but yeah. Oh man, I think another thing it's helped me do too, that just came to me was that it helped me hone into what I'm actually interested in. Yeah, it's like lately I'll have people on and I'll have conversations with people and I'm like, man, I really like talking about this. You know what I mean? So like, I feel like I've been able to sort of take it into a direction. Like I'm moving towards like, I want to talk about more mental health now. Like that's what I want. That's the direction I want to go. And like, I'm still going to talk about other stuff with people, but that's like, I'm like branding it differently. Like I want to talk about mental health.
Yes.
So I feel like it's helped me find direction in that too.
Like, oh, that's something that I'm really interested in.
Yeah. And I gain knowledge about it all, right? Because I have people on, I'm like, fuck.
Dude, when I had Mike
2 or 3 hour conversations with people, like that's pretty cool, you know? Yeah.
When I had Mike Gonzalez on, I like just got a ton of wisdom.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure I'll get stuff from this too, but
Yeah.
from him, I was like, this is awesome.
Yeah, man.
Good to hear his, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so you're moving towards mental health. So this podcast, I want to focus it on basically motivation, like how, because it's willpower. So it's like where do you derive motivation to do the things that you do?
Mm-hmm.
And I think there's a few ways of looking at it. There's like the grit, the like discipline of like, I'm going to do this every day.
Mm-hmm.
But I think there is a bit of a challenge there when your emotional state doesn't line up. And some people will say like, fuck your emotions, just do the thing that you wanted to do, even if you don't feel like doing it. And that can be great. That's fine. But I'd like to consider like, is there a way to actually just align them? So your emotional state is directed towards what you actually want to be doing. Curious what your thoughts are on that.
I have a lot of thoughts on that.
Okay.
Because I think this morning I was like waking up and like I just needed rest. Like I haven't felt like great these past couple days. I've been like just not at my best. And like emotionally just not feeling well. So that's exactly what I've been working with is like, okay, so like I want to be more consistent. Like I want to be more motivated and driven. But I'm also feeling like I just need to go lay down. You know what I mean? Like I really just want to like rest and like lay down, take it easy. Like I was like, man, I'd feel really good before this podcast this morning if I went and got a workout in and then ate and then came here. But then I was also like, I woke up and I was like, don't do that. Like go on a walk. Like you don't need to do that. I can do that later. Yeah. Like I literally not doing anything else today. Like I can go do that later. Like not in any rush. So yeah, I think there's definitely, I think you have to find a balance there. And I've been trying to figure that out lately. I think I'm going to throw this back to you because I don't really know. I'm still exploring this. But I think that you have to listen to your body. Like I don't agree that like you can just just go, like just power through everything. I think you have to listen to your body and meet yourself where you're at, get the rest that you need, and then you'll get to a point where you feel as if you can go. But when things happen to you and you feel like your body, you need to work through certain things and rest, then I think you have to give yourself the time to do that, or else you're just going to like burn out.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Yeah. It is a recipe for burnout, and that happens when you are constantly fighting yourself and you're winning, you keep winning those battles. Like you beat your inner bitch, right? And but then at some point you're bound to stop for whatever reason. And then your mind has learned when we get in that mode, like it sucks. We're just we're not happy the whole time, all of this. And that's what burnout is you don't want to go back into that. And so it's like, yes, it will work for a while, but as soon as you stop, then you're burnt out.
As soon as you stop what?
As soon as you say like you're on a fitness routine and you hate it, but you force yourself to do it and you do it for like months, you do it for like 4 months. And then you have like a vacation, a family trip, something where you can't do it. Going back to it so hard because your mind is like off of that as a ritual, like a habit, and it's learned when we're in that mode, it sucks. It's not fun. And it's that's why it's so hard. And that happens with students too, who just grit their teeth through everything and work super hard, and then they burn out and they can't work. I think Cal Newport was talking about this, where he studied students and they get to a point where they they have like a deadline and something's due and they just don't do it, and they're like straight A students. And it's that burnout. It's their brain is like, I don't want to go back into that.
Because they get a break from it and they realize just how much it sucked. They're just like, yeah, I'm just not doing that.
And then motivating yourself becomes so hard. Like, and I'm sure you've had this with, because I have this all the time. I'll have some like the littlest tasks where there's just weirdly a ton of resistance around doing it.
Yeah.
One of them was me and my girlfriend were downtown and we parked somewhere. And the online thing wasn't working. I couldn't pay. And so then I didn't pay because I couldn't. And then we came back and we got a ticket. And this was like over a month ago. And she was like, and it was her car. And so I was like, okay, I'll figure it out. So she sent me a picture of the ticket. And then I didn't do anything until yesterday. And it took me like literally a minute to do. Yeah. But the whole time I was like, oh, I have to do that thing. Oh, fuck, okay. Yeah. I just didn't want to. There was just like a ton of resistance around.
It's silly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So how do you go about making it feel better to do the things you want to do, like you were saying?
Yeah. Oh, man. I don't know, man. I'd be curious to hear from you, too, because I feel like you're much more consistent with your workout routine and diet and everything. But, I mean, lately I feel like I've just been trying to... like when it comes to working out, these past couple weeks I've actually found like a routine that I really enjoy and that I feel like is simpler to get to every day, rather than feeling like trying to like have like really, really high expectations for myself. Like working out, I feel like I've been like I'll go to the gym, I have a weight vest, I'll just do push-ups and pull-ups and some squats and like with some kettlebells and then like just stretch. And it takes me like 30 minutes, maybe. And then maybe I'll do something else if I want to. And I feel good. I feel happy about it. And I'm done.
Yeah.
And like I can do that anywhere. And like that's so much easier for me than other workout routines I've had in the past. Yeah, I don't know, man. I think that's tough. I'm not really in a place right now where I've been like really consistent with anything. I'm in a weird place in my life. But I think just finding ways to make it more enjoyable and like something that's like bite-sized, you know?
Yeah.
Like one thing I have been doing is like I play the guitar every day. Been doing that for a while now. And I'm like, I'll just do it for 5 or 10 minutes and I really enjoy it and I see progress and I'm like, it's great, you know?
Yeah, you can get really far doing that, doing the small.
Yeah, you really can.
I did something similar with my workouts where I had that cycle of burnout where I was forcing myself to do things and then would like dread workouts. It was to a point where like I had this system where I was like, I need to do 6 workouts a week, right? 6 out of the 7 days. And partially that was because my split was like push-pull legs. So I was like, do 3-3. And if I ever missed more than one workout, I would like have a notes thing on my phone. And I was like, I'm 3 workouts behind. I like keep track of them. And then that meant like the next week I had to do 7 days.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
And I was like, and there's so much stress around that where I was like, I'm 7 behind. Fuck. How do I like get back?
So that's 7 weeks of every day. Yes. You start getting double workouts in there.
Yeah. So then I got to a point where the system broke because I had too many. I had like 8 behind. And then I was like, I'm never going to catch up.
It's intense.
And so then when I was like thinking about how to start a new routine, I was like, how can I make this something I enjoy? And that's where I came up with just like a 45-minute workout. That just feels good. Like I do arms every day because I'm like doing arms. It's fun. Yeah. It's like I get a pump going and it's enjoyable. And yeah, so I think people looking to do fitness should, I'm reading a book about this, but you want to figure out a short-term benefit, like immediate benefit to working out. Because if you are thinking, oh, I want to work out for health, I want to work out to lose weight, that takes too long for your brain can't understand that
It can't understand that at 7 a.m. when you're needing to get up and go to the gym. It's like,
because it'll be like, you can just do it tomorrow.
Not doing that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Whereas if you can come up with a better reason, like not a better, but a shorter reason, like you feel good after you work out, your day goes better. it can be much easier to get yourself to go do it. And honestly, I realized, I think that pump in the gym is like one of the reasons I've worked out.
Oh yeah.
Because it's immediate.
Yeah.
It's like right away you get a pump and it's fun.
You walk out of there and you're like, oh, dude, I'm a beast.
Yeah.
You feel great about yourself.
Yeah, I think I was listening to a podcast with Andrew Huberman, and he was like, working out with weights is like the only pursuit where when you do it, you get a little taste of what will come if you keep doing it. Because like you get to see yourself looking bigger. Yeah. And it's like, okay, I could actually look like this all the time if I keep doing this.
Yeah. The other day I was in the gym and I literally, I didn't really want to be there, but I got in there and I just pumped out a bunch of push-ups and I got up and I just looked at myself. I was like, oh shit. I immediately felt like so much like, yes, God damn, you know? That's what it took. It's like literally like one set of push-ups.
Yeah.
I was like happy I'm there. Yeah. Another thing I wanted to say though was that like, this is just something I've heard from people, is that like finding like a good workout routine for yourself. It's all about like finding something you enjoy. And like there's like 60-year-olds, 70-year-olds that'll just go for a swim in a lake every day, you know?
Yeah.
And that's like, or gardening, you know? And they're healthy as hell, you know? They're kicking ass. And that's like,
you're still moving.
Yeah. And it's like something they can do every day and they're consistent with, you know?
Yeah. I'm trying to do this 75 hard challenge. I kept fucking up the eating, but I'm going to start fresh. And one of the things is like a 45-minute outdoor workout. And that's one of the things I wanted to say for okay, the next one I wanted to talk about was like day-to-day habits that have the highest ROI. And so by that I mean things you do that like pay off the most. For me, walking outside is one of those.
Yeah.
I've realized that just like taking Reba out for a walk is like, it never feels like it. It feels like a waste of time before. And I'm like, I have shit to do. I don't have time to go for a walk right now. And I just go around the block and then I'm like, I feel so much better, like energized. And yeah. So the 45-minute outdoor thing is like.
Does that count for you?
Walking?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
That's like an easier one is walking. Yesterday I walked around with a 25-pound kettlebell.
Wow.
That was hard.
Yeah.
I had to like, I would hold it in one hand for 5 minutes. And by the 5 minutes, like my forearms were
45 minutes
burning, and then I'd switch to the other hand and like keep going. And that was one where like, it was hard, but I was like, this feels good. Like this is going to feel really good afterward.
Yeah.
And then I was super tired and like, yeah, I felt good after that.
Yeah.
So what habits do you have that you think, or that like you've had? You don't have to like be like, oh, I do this every day, but just something that you've noticed.
Yeah, exercise for sure.
Okay.
Like I feel like, I don't know if it's like a great solution. I think it is. I've noticed that like when I have a lot of anxious thoughts, I'm thinking that exercise just turns my brain off. Like it almost like makes me too tired to think. So it's kind of nice to like ease like anxious thoughts that I have.
Yeah.
And then on top of that, you know, it just makes me feel good about myself and it makes me feel confident. So yeah, exercise. And then I would say, one of the first things that came to mind was, like playing the guitar lately. Like I'm not good. I've just picked it up, but I know it's something that I would love to do. If I could really learn to play it, I know I would enjoy it. Yeah. So I'm just like, hell yeah. Like I know I'm working towards something that really matters to me. And when there's times when I actually learn how to do something that's like, I can actually hear the song. Like, I'm
right.
Like,
when it comes together.
Yeah. It's like something like creative, you know, that I feel like I do. And like lately it's been bringing a lot of joy, to my days. Breath work.
Yeah. It's a good one.
Yeah. We were talking about that a little bit. I think breath work is really good for, like cleaning my slate in the morning, before I get going. I can do without it, but I just feel a little anxious if I don't do it. Like I just kind of feel, uneasy. And then I like taking cold showers in the mornings. I know you used to do the cold plunges every morning, but
dude, it's been messed up lately.
Really?
Yeah, I haven't been able to do it.
It's
I think some water leaked in it because
Oh.
it keeps tripping the circuit. So
Damn.
I gotta
Yeah.
go figure that out.
Yeah. But that always makes me feel really great. And I mean, not the cold plunges do, but I don't do that at my house. I just do. I just do the cold showers, and that's, I feel like, almost just as good. Almost. I think walks are really great too, though I haven't been doing that as much lately. Yeah. Other than that, maybe reading, trying to read a little bit of something every day.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it just makes me feel good about myself, makes me feel like I'm learning. But then also, it's almost like a meditation, you know, like, because you're focusing on one thing, like your thoughts will come in, you have to bring it back to the page. So it's almost like a form of meditation. I think it helps me go to sleep.
Yeah, that's for me too.
Yeah.
I read. I've been trying to read more, but I've always kept up like the before bed. Like, it doesn't have to be a lot. Just like I read like a few pages and then I'm already super tired.
Yeah. You said you meditate a lot recently, right? Or do you?
I haven't yet today, but I've been trying to keep up just like 10 minutes a day.
Yeah. You feel like that helps you a lot? Like,
I think so. I think when I'm able to, when I'm in periods of good focused meditation, so there are some times where I'm like, let me just sit here for 10 minutes and I don't, I forget what I'm doing.
Yeah.
Which isn't a bad thing, by the way, if you get caught up in thought for like however long and then you remember, oh, I'm meditating, let me like focus back on whatever, the breath or the object of focus for that. That's a good thing because you noticed it. And continuing to remember that is the practice. It's not just constantly being stuck on the breath. Yeah, I think in periods when I am having focused meditation, the most benefit comes when I remember it outside of the actual meditation. So I find like I like to try and find just moments of clarity. It's like yesterday when I was doing the kettlebell thing and I was walking and I had Reba. I was in all pain and like my forearms are burning, but then I just kind of was walking and it was nice out and I had Reba with me, and so I had a moment of just taking in everything, like complete presence. And so that's kind of like my highest priority, is like, how do I just maximize those moments, the number of moments like that, because those are the ones I remember. Those are the ones that stand out, when everything is all the anxiety, all of those thoughts are gone. I'm just 100% there. So I found that in periods when I'm meditating more clearly and I'm more focused in it, I have more of those moments.
So when you've been like consistent with meditation, you feel like you get to that point where
I'm incorporating it kind of.
Yeah.
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was going to say, so walking for sure. And then reading, like you mentioned, that's been a big one for me. I think playing with Reba, my dog, is like a good one. It's all those, it's a lot of things that seem like they're wastes of time, but that aren't really. And it's like you have to just be like, this is not a waste of time. This is okay to do. Yeah. What do you think your primary source of motivation is?
Damn, dude. God, man, if we're being real, it's probably not good. Probably comes from a really bad place. No, I think in the past it's always been like, am I accepted? You know, like, am I enough for people? Like, I think that's what's gotten me to work out. I think that's what's gotten me to work. I think that's what's gotten me to do a lot of things. But I think, honestly, I'm getting to a point now where my motivation to do things comes from just wanting to be happier and wanting to like, get to a better place so that I feel better. Yeah. Yeah, and wanting to feel more confident and wanting to feel fuller and more at peace with myself. And
Yeah, I'm kind of at a similar crossroad, like, place where I am moving away from. I've had similar motivations, which are like, I think when you were talking, it made me really think about what mine have been. And I think they've been, how do I become undeniable at someone else's game? How do I just prove that I am good in their eyes? And that means I'm either trying to fit in or be good, but at what they think is good. So I have not been self-motivated, with, even though I've thought that I was. And then a lot of it was also fueled by negativity of, how do I not be a piece, like, if I don't do this, I'm gonna beat myself up. So I better go do that.
Were you gonna say piece of shit?
Yes.
How do I not be a piece of shit?
How do I not be a piece of shit?
I know what you mean. Yeah. Yeah, man.
Which was very much like fueled by David Goggins, honestly. I read his book in like junior year of college. I was like, fuck yeah, this is what I'm gonna do now. And so I got a lot of negative self-talk from that. And like, that can be motivating.
It can be. I was gonna say, it's like there's some like validity there. I feel like, you know, like, you don't just want to be sitting around doing nothing and not. I mean,
yeah. There was
maybe the motivation's kind of distorted. Maybe it's not really.
He did a podcast with Andrew Huberman where he was like talking about waking up. He was like, I'm a piece of shit today. Like, how am I gonna, like, every day he wakes up and he's like, I gotta prove myself today. Like, there's no period where he's like, okay, I've done it. So I definitely have been fueled in that way, but I'm trying to move towards more sustainable sources of motivation.
Yeah.
And for me, that is more like what you were saying. Like, how do I just be happy? I had a moment a few weeks ago where I was training for my triathlon, and I had a day where I just did not do it nearly as much as I set out to. And I was like, at the end of it, I was like, fuck, this is coming up, and this is bad. Like, I did not do enough. And so I was feeling bad about myself.
What's coming up?
The race was coming up.
Okay.
And I had not trained as much as I meant to that day. And I was like, I need to get on this. So I was kind of beating myself up about it. And then I had a moment where I was like, my number one priority is happiness. So why am I making myself feel bad about this? So I think sometimes just remembering that helps me. It's like, my number one priority is still happiness. That doesn't change, even if I don't do the thing that I wanted to do. So
yeah, that's difficult though.
Yeah, and like, changing over fuel sources is difficult. Like, there's definitely growing pains. Like, I ate ice cream yesterday.
Changing what?
Changing fuel sources from from negativity to like positive growth. Yeah, because I had ice cream yesterday because I feel like my brain is like, you're not gonna yell at me anymore, so let me take advantage of this.
Yeah, because the triathlon is done. Like you can.
So.
Or because you're trying to reframe.
Because I'm trying to be
more positive.
I'm trying to be more positive. So when I don't do bad things, I don't get mad at myself. So then I was like, oh,
yeah,
let me use this. Let me get some ice cream.
Yeah.
But I think that's just a growing pain. I think I'll figure out. There'll be a point where I'm like, which comes and goes, where I'm like, oh, I don't want to have ice cream because I'm not going to feel good. I want to eat this thing because it's going to make me feel good.
Yeah.
Rather than like, I'm not going to eat ice cream because if I do, I'm going to berate myself with negative self-talk.
Yeah. What's coming up for me real quick is like, something I've been thinking about a lot is like how I have like these critical messages in my head. Like, for example, I have to work out today because I have a triathlon next week, and if I don't, I'm going to be a piece of shit. And like, or I'm going to fail. And it's like, okay, taking that message and then say, like, where's the value there? Because it's coming from a place of like, it just wants me to compete and wants me to show up.
Right.
I committed to this thing. I want to commit. I want to show up today.
Yes.
And like saying like, okay, like there's the value in it. Like, it's not a bad message at all. Like, so yeah, let's try to do something today, even though I can't, even though I don't really want to. Can we put a little bit of effort in today just so I can show up for this thing next week?
Right.
And if not, if we need the rest, then okay, that's okay too. But
so
like
taking the message and being
like,
okay, I see the intention. You're trying to help me.
Yeah.
How can we learn from this? What, like, yes, work with it.
Yeah.
Negotiate a little.
Yeah. It's not like a bad message. It's just maybe coming from like a place of like, I don't even know, like need or like,
yeah, that's kind of that, I'm blanking on the name now. What is that thing called? The family systems?
Internal family systems.
Internal family systems.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of like that. Whole idea of like the part just wants recognition.
Wants love.
Yeah.
And it thinks that you're going to get love by competing in this triathlon and doing super well.
Yeah.
It doesn't want you to fail.
And a big part of that has been reinforced by me because like in the past I've not given myself love. What role has dating played in your life and then in other areas of your life, unrelated or not directly related?
Yeah. I think. Do
you want to tell me about like your dating history? I don't think we've ever talked about it.
Yeah. What do you want to know?
Okay. When was your first kiss?
Oh, I remember it. Is that my first kiss? Yeah, I think it was in sixth or seventh grade.
Okay.
And I was dating this girl, and I remember we would always hold hands in the hallway.
Yeah.
It was awkward. We'd hold hands in the hallway when we were walking out of what period was it? I don't know. The last period of the day. And one day I was like, I'm going to kiss her. So we were walking out. My mom was parked outside of this door. I was fixing to walk out the door. I just turned, I kissed her on the cheek, and I turned away, and I walked out the door. Didn't even acknowledge her as I did it. And then I just walked it. I just anxiously walked out the door. Oh my gosh. Yeah, that was my first kiss.
Dude, I remember that awkwardness. In 6th grade, I think my first kiss was in like 7th grade, but I had a girlfriend in 6th grade, and I was so nervous around her. And like one time we had this school trip, and on the bus I like put my arm around her, and I was like so excited about that, but we didn't even talk the whole time. Like I just had my arm around her. But yeah, I remember that. Adorable. That awkwardness.
Yeah.
Okay, so 6th grade.
Yeah.
Well, when was your first like relationship?
I think my first relationship was like sophomore year of high school. I had like been boyfriend, girlfriend with other people before then, but like, there's nothing going on there really. I think sophomore year of high school, I dated a girl and it was a very like PG relationship. I mean, we were very young and we just kind of, I don't know, we'd hang out with each other. Nothing really special. I liked her a lot. But I mean, yeah, I think I was 15.
Okay.
Yeah.
Have you had like an adult relationship to being, I don't know, whatever you would define as an adult relationship? Like I've had a relationship when I was like 21 that I would not say was an adult relationship.
Sure. Yeah. And then I dated I'd say the first adult relationship that I had when I was probably 20. And yeah, lasted for about, it's kind of blurry, like 6 months probably, 6 or 7 months.
Okay.
Yeah.
Have you had any, what is the worst breakup you've been through?
Yeah, the worst breakup that I went through, damn, this is hard to talk about live, but I'm not really concerned about it. The worst breakup I went through was that one.
The 20.
Yeah.
One where you're
20. 20. Shit, I was not 20. What the hell am I talking about? I was 22.
Okay.
So this is not that long ago.
You're 24 now?
Yeah, I'm 24. Yeah, man, that one was tough because, man, I'm still navigating that, and I'd like to talk to her more about this, because there's a lot more going on there that I feel like we could both explore. But what happened on my end, what I think happened is that I was not capable of really knowing what I wanted in a relationship, and I'm still learning that, I'm realizing that I'm really not that, I still don't really know what I want in a relationship, and when I date people, especially people that I'm very attracted to, I'm like, it's very hard for me when I'm single and I have a lot of time to spend by myself. I feel like I can connect with myself, and I'm like, yeah, I know what I want. I know who I am. We're good. When I meet somebody that I'm very attracted to and we start seeing each other and we become intimate, I really struggle with staying in touch with what I want.
Yeah.
So what happened in that relationship to me, on my end, was that, like, one, I didn't have a lot of strong connections in my life. I feel like I was pushing away my friends that I did have.
Yep.
I started losing connection with them, and it was my choice. I just I didn't feel like I needed them as much, which is terrible. And yeah, I didn't have many strong connections. And then, yeah, I was not putting near enough time into the things that I enjoyed or wanted to do. I feel like I still hadn't explored what I even enjoyed and loved to do in the first place. But I had no need to when I was dating her, because I just wanted to hang out with her and cuddle with her and, watch movies. And, like, that's just like, that brought me a lot of joy being with her, which is great. Like, I think we were good together, and like, I really do still care about her. But like, I just was like, I lost touch with who I was. So that's what caused me to, I remember, like, she had moved and I had followed her, and because I wanted to stay with her, and so just going back to not being in touch with who I am, where I'm going, and I think she was in touch with that. And so when her path and where she was going in life led somewhere else where I couldn't really go anymore, or she didn't want me to be there anymore, like, that was hard for me, because it left me feeling like I don't even know who the fuck I am, And so that was tough. And yeah, I'm still navigating that though. Like how to stay aligned when I'm seeing somebody that brings me a lot of joy and makes me feel a lot of things, you know?
Dude, that
It's
is
tough.
so hard.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But I'm guessing at that time you didn't realize that was happening.
I don't think I did, no.
Whereas
I
more,
think maybe I was lying to myself. Maybe I kind of knew, but I'm like,
you don't
"Get
want to
outta
believe it.
here."
It's fine. She's
Yeah.
good.
Yeah.
She's got everything I need.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've definitely felt that impulse to like push people. Not necessarily push them away, but stop like keeping up and stop caring as much about friendships. Which I think are the most important in these situations because they're the ones who are going to notice that stuff if you don't.
Yeah, and they keep you grounded. Yeah. For sure. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that is definitely a difficult one. And like my girlfriend lives in Dallas, so I get like the kind of built-in time to myself.
Yeah.
Which I think honestly is a really good thing for me because I have that tendency to go all in and be like, this is like good enough. She's everything I need. I don't really need my friends. Like,
because it does feel that way sometimes. I feel like it in here. It feels like I have to use my brain and be like, oh hey, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Like you know, like,
yes. Yeah. So I could totally see myself falling into that trap. But having just time to myself helps me realize that. But yeah, I definitely think for you it'll at least you have the awareness now. So it's like if that happens, you will probably know that it's happening.
Yeah. Can I ask you, what have you had that happen in the past, or anything similar?
I have had.
Or what was your first adult relationship like?
All of it. I think okay. So I dated a girl in high school, and that was super. It felt very codependent. Again, not at the time. Like I didn't think it was bad. I remember in health class, the teacher was talking about how if you're constantly worrying about what your partner's doing or that like who they're seeing, like that's not a bad trait, but she was saying it's like jealousy and like it's not really love. And I was like, no, that just means you love them a lot.
100%. Yeah.
And so I had that belief that like, oh, I'm so jealous and all this, but it's because I love her so much. So I feel like I was super codependent, and I felt like the relationship ending was kind of like if the relationship dies, I die. Like I felt like a part of that, rather than seeing it as something outside of myself. So that was high school. And then I went to college, and I had one relationship in the later years of college. So when I was like 20 through 21. And that one I felt like I had to, it wasn't really a good relationship. Like we were not meant for each other. And I would kind of just go because it was comfortable, and that's kind of why I stayed in it. And then I also felt like there was nothing else for me. Because this was about a year into the pandemic, and so I met some people off of dating apps, but not a lot. And so I felt very like scarcity mindseted, and so I didn't feel like I could leave that. And then finally one time I tried to leave and end it, and just didn't go well. Like I couldn't quite cut it. And then finally I did the full cut, and honestly I thought it would be fine. I didn't think I would be affected. I thought like, okay, I know I don't want to be in this relationship, so let me just end it. But then I was super like emotionally messed up from it. And like that's just from a year of, when you're with someone from a year and you're so used to them being around, it still is difficult.
Yeah.
Regardless of situation.
Yeah.
So that was like when I was 21, I ended that. And then I would say this is my first like adult relationship.
Okay.
More recently.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's me.
Yeah.
One thing I've been playing with, I think an idea for guys that I am coaching and helping with their dating, I think that having a passion is so important for dating. Having something that is just more important, something that's like I need this. This comes first.
Mm-hmm.
And that's something that can ground you. And it doesn't have to be like your work. It could be like, I really give a shit about my health. Like that could be your thing. Like I really just care about my health. And if I'm in a relationship and that goes away, like that's a problem.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm trying to, I try to figure that out with guys before going into dating, being like, what do you really care about, first of all? Yeah. Do you have that thing? Does anything come to mind?
Damn. I feel like that's tough for me, man. Damn, no. I think I'm working on that and finding that, but I don't think I have it. I think that like I really do enjoy making my podcast, and I appreciate your encouragement too. Like you're one of those people that I hang out with, and you're like, all right, who are you having on next? So I really appreciate that. And I have been more consistent with it recently. And I have enjoyed it more recently. So that to me is enjoyable. Like, yeah, because I've been exploring like mental health now, my own mental health, and like, different ways of understanding our mind and navigating it. And I've been really enjoying that. And I want to put more effort into my podcast and, and see where that goes. So I think that's definitely one thing right now that I care about a lot. As well as just like my overall health and peace of mind. Which is something I'm working on. Yeah. Which is just like doing that through reading and exercising and just eating. Yeah, but honestly, man, I'm still figuring that out. You know, I don't really have like something that like matters so much to me. My podcast does matter to me, but it's like not like it's not the world to me. And I feel like it could be if I really narrowed it down more. If I was more consistent. But I have a lot more thinking to do about that, I think. Yeah.
Where do you find willpower?
Where do I find willpower? Like motivation?
Mm-hmm.
Like the will to get things done? Yeah, I think that I find it it's a tough question. I think I do think lately it's been coming more from inside, like motivating myself and, you know, yeah, like thinking about the man that I could be if I were to change certain things in my life and if I were to get better. Yeah. if I were to work on certain aspects of myself, who I would be, and the life I could have.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think it's just, where'd I get willpower? I think it's like just from envisioning who I could be. And that inspires me. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah, I think the vision, having some kind of vision, is so powerful. I'm reading the Elon Musk biography by Walter Isaacson.
Mm-hmm.
And his are insane. It's like he wants humanity to be a multi-planetary species. And it's like, holy shit. Think about that for a life vision.
God damn.
But yeah, I think that's what drives him. Is that, and then he also was like sustainable, like electric cars, because we're gonna run out of other fuel. So yeah, he has these like insane visions of what he wants, but I think having some kind of vision is really important, and it can make those more difficult decisions feel less like gritty and less dependent on discipline, and it's like there's a more of a free source of motivation, or it feels like an easier, it's like doing a hard thing, but it feels better doing it.
Yeah, because you have like an end goal, you know what you're working towards. It makes you feel like inspired.
Exactly.
Yeah.
When have you failed in the past?
I hate this question.
How did you learn from it?
I was thinking about this earlier. I hate this question. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I think like damn. Just like thinking how to frame this. I think okay, I'll just try. Like I think I've failed in dating and relationships, and like relationships are gonna end, but like how much pain they cause and how much they disrupt my life can change. Like I can't keep relationships from ending, but I like romantic relationships. I can't, sometimes they're not going to work out, and that's fine. But I feel like in the past, they've like really disrupted my life. And so I guess it's not really like failure, but it is, because when I haven't been able to show up for myself and stay in touch with what I want, it's caused relationships to go really, really poorly, and cause a lot of pain for myself. So lately, that's what I've learned, is that I really want to find stability in myself and be very intentional when I date people. That's like what I've learned from those failures. And then, there's a lot more that goes into that too, like setting clear boundaries and communicating with people better, communicating my feelings better. Something the other day I was thinking about was like I really just need to get better at just speaking about how I feel and not expecting, not worrying about how it's going to be received. Because I feel like all my emotions are valid, and I need to get better at like just communicating them to people. But then I was thinking, like failed. Yeah, and I would say like substance abuse, like whether it was like drinking or smoking pot, or like even playing games. Like I think like video games can be like a substance, you know,
Mm-hmm.
like they can be, you know, they're fucking addicting. So I think like in the past I really struggled with not not regulating my intake of certain substances, and that really caused a lot of pain for me, enough to where I now like try to really moderate how much I use certain things. And so I don't drink coffee, is because like I used to love caffeine.
Yeah.
So I'm like, so I think coffee is good. Like I want to try it. Like I want to implement it, but I'm like hesitant.
Yeah.
Um, yeah.
Yeah. What you used to drink a lot?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
What was that like? What was your intention behind drinking?
Behind drinking? Honestly, it made me feel a lot of love. Like it made me feel very happy, you know? Like when I did it, it made me feel very happy. Like I remember yeah, whether it was social situations or if I was by myself. If I was by myself and I was lonely and I didn't know what to do with myself, I would feel super happy when I was drunk, like watching a movie or doing anything. Like I just felt happy. It felt like it gave me a break, you know? So like that was my intention, like was like just feeling fulfilled. And then also when I was in social situations, I felt like I sucked at talking to people, and I just like I couldn't connect with people.
Yeah.
But when I got drunk, I didn't care that I couldn't connect with people, and I was like, I feel fine now, you know?
Yeah.
So
It feels, yeah.
yeah. But obviously, like, you know, you drink too much and you make a fucking fool out of yourself, and you like mess up your health enough to where like doesn't work anymore.
Yeah. I've talked with people about like that that hangover anxiety.
Oh yeah.
It's like a mix of your brain chemistry is kind of fucked up because like you just had that huge rush from drinking, but then also there's the thought of like, what did I do? Like, how stupid was I yesterday?
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
And like thinking back through all the things. Yeah, I used to get that, and
Yeah,
trying to
the
remember
shame.
like what stupid thing I said.
Yeah. Oh man. Yeah. I would feel so much shame.
Yeah.
When I did that too.
Yeah.
Because I did a lot of stupid stuff to people. Like a lot of stupid things. So yeah. And then just living with that shame for like days, weeks. Like, yeah.
Yeah. I would also use it for the social reasons.
Mm-hmm.
Early on, I would use it just primarily for the fun of it. Because like I always loved alcohol. It was like super fun.
It's nice. Like it is a nice little like social lubricant. Like it's like anything else. Like a little bit of it is like, it's kind of great.
Yeah, I think
really
in
well.
moderation it is. And I've recognized that since stopping. Like the best part of it is like when you first get the buzz. But for me, I was always chasing that, and so I would just drink as much as I could.
Yeah. Me too. I did the same thing. It was like I would just, you can't get enough.
Yeah.
And then it gets,
You keep drinking, and especially like when you're like out for a night, and like you start feeling yourself coming down, then you gotta have more. So yeah, in like freshman year of college, the intention was always like get as drunk as we can. And similarly, I drank in senior year of high school. So my friends were kind of bad, and so we started drinking in like freshman year of high school, and like smoking, and I got in trouble in 9th grade. My mom found my weed, or it was my friend's weed, but I had it. Yeah, it sucked. It was the worst. I wasn't at home. I was with my dad, and we were like visiting my aunt and uncle for the night, like a Saturday. And then on Sunday, my dad was on the phone, And like I'm eating breakfast with my cousins, and then he comes in and he's like, "You got to talk. Your mom's on the phone." And I was like, and I talked to her, and she's like, "I found the bag," and like,
oh.
and then she was like, "I want you to," and then we had to drive home like 3
man.
hours with me and my dad, and I sat in the back seat. It was awful.
Oh, yikes.
So then after that, I basically, like, I quit everything for like 3 years until senior year.
Wow.
And so I was just the one friend who was like, didn't do anything.
Wow. Was it because all that, the discipline and like all the, like from your parents' end of like,
like they didn't do that much.
Yeah.
Like she said I wasn't really grounded, but it was more just like, you can't just go hang out like you have to like be at a friend's house or like have something you're doing, not just like open-ended. And that was only for like, a couple months. And then at a certain point, I think I just got in the mindset where I was like, oh, I haven't done it in 6 months.
I don't need it.
Let me keep going.
Yeah.
Keep the streak going.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And then finally in senior year, I went to visit my cousin in Madison where she went to school. And then that was the first time I drank. But yes, I would totally do the just drink as much as possible.
Yeah. Yeah, man. It's tough.
And then I would use it more for the socializing and to get the confidence to talk to girls.
Yeah.
And then, like, I remember one time I was out at a bar and I felt I was with two of my friends, 3 of us, and I knew I was like looking to meet women. And I walked in and I felt just like so much pressure. And I had already drinking. We'd like done a pregame and stuff. But I felt so much pressure that I was like, I need to drink more. And it was like anytime I felt the nerves, I would just want to get another drink.
Mm-hmm. Damn. That just, this like, when you feel those nerves, like that's important. Like that's what like helps you show up. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like learning to work with those.
Uh-huh.
So when people numb them, that's why I'm like, when people are anxious and they want to drink because of it, and like, oh, just grab a drink. I'm like,
It's not going to help you.
I mean, it's okay sometimes to ease that, but like you need to learn to work with those feelings, or else like
it gets so much worse. Do you know, I think I used to be this kind of person.
Mm-hmm.
But those people who are super friendly, super like outgoing when they're drunk, and then you see them the next day and it's like completely like you can't even connect.
Yeah.
It's like a different person.
100%.
And I used to totally be that.
Yeah.
Where I'd have like people who I'd be super excited and like talkative, and then when I was sober, nothing.
That's who I was too. There were definitely periods of time where I was like that.
Yeah.
I would just get happy and like loving and weird and fun.
Yeah.
And then like when I'm not drunk, I'm like anxious and sad and depressed.
Like,
who the fuck am I? People are around me. I'm a jerk, And I drink and I'm like, I just open up.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh,
but the drinking, I
cool,
think,
man,
plays into the other one because you don't learn how to handle your emotions.
It plays into the other one.
It plays into the negative side. It's like you get the happiness from drinking, but then afterward you get the reverse side of all those emotions.
Yeah.
And then you also don't know how to handle them because you're used to just drinking to make it better.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's definitely tricky. If you get caught in that.
Yeah.
Getting caught in that loop. Did you ever get to a point where you were drinking, like, was it regular? Like,
yeah.
Weekly
regularly.
at least?
Probably, yeah.
Because I definitely had that in, like, freshman year of college where it would be, like, every weekend. Usually, like, 2 days at least.
Yeah, definitely.
And that was, like, my fun. Yeah. I think there are a lot of people caught in that kind of, they're not like physically addicted, but that's their source of enjoyment.
Mm-hmm.
They kind of go through a week of work, just get through it, and then by the end they're ready and they have their fun for the weekend, and then it's back to the work.
Yeah. Yeah, man.
What is something you are struggling with right now?
Yeah, I think I think finding what? Oh yeah, okay. I'm wanting to learn to be more like. Um, Actually, I went to the men's group last night, and this
How
is
was
something we talked about a lot.
Uh-huh.
Was something I talked about a lot, at least. It was good. It was really good. That I'm wanting to learn to be more like unapologetic and like confident in myself, and that's like that ties into me, just learning what I want and learning who I am, like what I want, and learning how to honor that. And yeah, because something I've been realizing is that like I'm just so used to validating myself through other people, and like it's just habitual. It's so easy for me to do that. It's like that program that my brain runs on. So I'm trying to learn to step back and step into who I am and how I feel, and own that, and then like yeah, try to live from that place. Yeah, that's what I'm working on, I think. Just learning to be more myself and okay with who I am, which I think I've been trying to do that for years, but like
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, I think I have too. For some reason, I always think that I'm like on some brand new pursuit. This is the new thing.
Yeah.
The other day, I was looking through my Google Drive, and I used to write like little like stories and things, and like I was like, oh, I was pretty insightful back. Like I was thinking of myself as being like some stupid guy in the past. But yeah, I think me too. I've been working on it for a while. I think sometimes with that kind of pursuit, it's easy to not recognize when you've made progress. And I've come to believe that that kind of thing, like this like being working from a place of pure intentions versus outsourced, like external. It's kind of an on-off switch. It's not like you always are one way or like you're a certain level of it. It's more like you're either doing it or you're not doing it. And the measure is really just how often are you on and how often are you off. And you might not notice the progress because you're only looking at the times where you're off.
Yeah.
Where you're like really thinking about how other people are taking it, or you're worried about it. So I'm wondering if you think about it, do you feel like you are doing it more often?
Yeah, I think so.
These days.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely.
You've worked with like life coaches in the past, right? Have you found them to be helpful?
I think so. Yeah, I worked with a guy named Nick. I actually made a podcast with him, and yeah, one thing he had me do was go and like talk to girls, and like one thing he was gonna have me do, I didn't even do it. Like he had like, all right, you're gonna go do this thing. I was like, yep, I am. And I went, and no, I didn't. But he was gonna have me go dance at Barton. So I was just gonna go put music on and just dance in the middle of Barton Springs, and I didn't do it. Like I remember going out there, and I was like, nah, I'm not gonna do that. But the point is, yes, he had me just go and like do things that like were uncomfortable for me, which is kind of like what, I mean, your group's a lot different than that, but that's one aspect of it is like, overcoming your fear.
Mm-hmm.
That's one thing he had me do a lot. He also had me like doing these like breathing exercises, which I still do today, which are like when you're feeling overwhelming emotions, he would have me like, kind of sounds like a weird idea, but like almost transmute the emotion, not change it, but do these breathing exercises to help bring me down, or up, depending on like where you're wanting to go and like how you're feeling, if you're wanting to change that. And he had me do these breathing exercises that really helped me. But yeah, I would say that that's helped. I've only worked with him, and there was another lady I worked with for a little while. She helped me kind of find some direction when I was exploring career paths a couple years ago. But yeah, that's really it. I do think they've helped me though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think, yeah, when you were talking about Barton, I was like, you could maybe I think I would do the same thing. I'd be like, okay, yeah, I could do that. And then you get there and I'm like, oh.
Yeah.
That's one where it sounds easy when you're looking at it from the outside.
Yeah.
And same with like approaching girls, like with our group, it's like, yeah, I go approach some girls. Sounds pretty good. And then you get there
and you're like, oh God.
There's so much pressure.
Yeah.
It feels like the whole world is like bearing down on you.
Yeah.
And then, yeah, it gets a lot harder.
Especially something like that too, because like the entire point is just to make people look at you, and like that's like, I don't want that. I don't like, and that's the whole point of it. Like, oh, it's just painful. Yeah. One thing he had me do too, I have the video, I can show it to you. It's so cringy. Like I had a man record it, but he had me like go on the diving board. He's like, I don't know how he came up with this idea for me to do this, but like he was like, I went on the diving board and just got everyone's attention, and then did like a what I do, and then just dove off the board. It was the most cringy thing in the world. Like it's like I forgot how to dive, and I just like wiggled and like fell off after getting everybody's attention. Oh my God, just the shame I felt walking out of that pool, just looking at people like, what the hell was that?
Dude, that's a good one. I like that.
It was horrible.
So you went up on the board and you like called to everyone like,
yeah,
look at me.
But that's his whole point was like, yeah, make people look at you like you're freaking weird and like feel it, like, can you feel it and like get comfortable in it? That was his whole point. That sucks.
Dude, my friend Raina, she says that. She's like, you can only feel a negative emotion will only last 90 seconds. That's what she always says. If you can just feel it for 90 seconds, it will go away.
Wow. Yeah.
And honestly, I think that's an overestimate. When I've like really tried to feel things, they don't last.
Yeah.
When you like, when it feels bad for a long time, I think it's because you keep pushing it away and then it comes back, and you push it away, it comes back.
Mm-hmm.
But if you really just sit and focus on it.
That's another thing this same coach would say, it was the resistance to you feeling it that sucked. It wasn't actually it. And I honestly find that sometimes when I'm feeling negative emotions, like if it's like grief or sadness, when I really fall into it, it kind of feels good. Yeah. Like it's almost like kind of like warm and like you're being held. Yeah. But like my resistance to feeling it is
the problem.
Yeah.
Yeah, I noticed that with jealousy, because that comes up for me sometimes. And when I just went into it, this does not feel bad. But it is the resistance. It's the desire to feel something that we're not. The desire for our existence to be something it's not. Yeah. And that's the same with either pushing away the bad or like clinging to the good. Both of those, I think, cause suffering. Yeah. Have you been meditating?
Not really.
No.
Kind of. Like I kind of did last night actually. I just like played, East Forest. I'll send you some of his. We'll just look him up. He's good. East Forest. He's like makes like sort of like more He makes a lot of music for like psychedelic experiences.
Mm-hmm.
So they're very trippy and like, but they're really great. They're really good music. It's good for meditation, stuff like that. But that's what I did last night. I lay down. He has a song called Meditation for Chaotic Times. Mm-hmm. It's a guided meditation. That thing has made me cry like so many times. It's so beautiful. But no, I haven't been meditating enough. I want to get back into it.
Cool.
But,
yeah. I feel like you're a pretty present person. Do you feel that way?
I think so. I think I can be. But yeah, I've gotten more present, I think. Sometimes I still struggle with that, yeah.
What are you the most excited about right now?
New podcast guests. The guy who hosts the retreat that I've told you about. His name's Bob Baer. He's a psychologist, and he's been hosting retreats. He's been a psychotherapist for the past 25 years, and he's been hosting retreats, been involved in men's work and trauma recovery stuff for the past like 30 plus years. And he's going to come talk with me. So I'm really excited about that. And then there's another girl I met who does a lot of work with like emotions and like helping people, literally what we were just talking about, like feel their emotions. Mm-hmm. She's going to come on and talk with me. Yeah, so I'm excited for that. And I also have like jotted down some like solo podcast ideas that I want to make, that I think would be really good. So I'm excited for my podcast. I think I've been enjoying it lately. Yeah. And I'm also excited. Last week was the last day of my past job. So I'm now unemployed, happily, and I'm going to spend some time thinking about what I want to do with my career. So that's what I'm most excited about. So.
Do you see yourself going into another type of job, or what do you see? Or do you see yourself doing the podcast full time, or what would you say is the goal?
I think I'm always going to do the podcast, like whether it's like a full-time thing or if I'm just making them here and there. I think it's always going to be around until something changes. I don't see anything changing. And then, yeah, I would like to go in a different field. I would like to go into like, I don't know, something like the mental health industry, whether it's like working, working like men's groups, counseling, something like that. I don't know yet, but in order to do that, I'd have to go to school. So for right now, I'm thinking about just jumping back into the same industry that I was in. But I was traveling for that one. I was having to go out of town a lot, so I'm thinking about looking for something similar here in Austin. It's not something that I really want to do, but I just think that like I have some experience now, so I think if I applied, I could find a job doing that, and it just seems like the best option, just to find work again. So that's what I'm gonna try to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Have you ever thought about like starting a men's group?
I have, but I'm also like, not right now. Like I don't see like a need for it. You know what I mean? Have you thought about that?
Not until this moment.
Really?
It's like, that might be cool. But yeah.
Dude, I think like something I've told myself is like, if that ever happens, if I ever do that, it'll happen like organically. Like there'll be a time and place for it to happen. I don't think I should do it right now. I don't know why. Maybe you can change my mind. But no, I don't genuinely. Like I'm in a men's group right now. It's led by Bob, that psychologist. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, so, and yeah, I just feel like maybe there's like a lot more I could learn, and then maybe eventually one day I see myself doing that. Yeah.
Yeah. Because I'm trying to think about where.
Yeah.
I think there's space today to work in mental health and like help people without like needing
a degree or
formal education.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. You're right.
And like there's so many coaches that don't have that, like they don't have a formal education in it, but they still, what they're doing is still effective and useful.
That's true.
So I'm just curious if it was something you thought of.
Yeah.
Yeah, where do you see, are you aiming to grow the podcast with this time off, or are you focused on kind of self introspection, or where?
Kind of, yeah. Yeah, I feel like I am focused on myself right now, but I'm also working on the podcast a little bit. I'd like, yeah, man, I don't know. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I'm sort of focusing on the podcast. I mean, the next like month or so, it's going to be very consistent, just because I've already have some things lined up for it. But I guess I don't see where the growth is. Like, I don't know what there is to do to make it grow more, and I don't even really see. Yeah. What does growth for your podcast look like? Like, what are the steps you're going to maintain to make it grow, and then where do you see it?
The steps for me are going to be consistent episodes. Talking about it more, learning how to talk about it, getting clear on what it is.
Yeah.
And getting better at it. Those are going to be my steps. Yeah. So constantly thinking about how I can become better at hosting it and making people comfortable and getting the most out of what they've gone through and learning from them.
Yeah. You should ask people, every guest that you have on, like, what their feedback is, what could have been done better, what was done great.
Yeah. I'll ask you afterward.
Yeah, you got it.
All right. Dalton Daniel, everybody.
Yes,
Dalton, where can people learn more about you?
You can go to, I've never shared this, don'tthinkbreathe.com, and you can find a blog that I have, as well as my podcast. My Instagram is at don'ttthink.breathe. And yeah, Don't Think Breathe is podcasts on all platforms.
Awesome.
Check it out.
Yeah, you've been an inspiration to me. You're always very open and dedicated to learning about yourself. So I've learned a lot from you.
Thank you, man. I appreciate it.
Yes.
Thank you for having me on today.
Of course.
I'm serious. I was so excited to have this conversation. This is great, dude. The setup is sweet.
Yeah, thanks,
I love
man.
it. Yeah, man.
Bye, everybody.